Hey, thank you so much for watching and listening. Of course, I want you to subscribe. We have amazing content and we have extremely cool people, one of whom I want to introduce to you today. His name is Mark Moore.
How do you do that? Like, you just have this vibe that comes out that's just so inviting.
Nice. You think so? That's really good news.
Yeah.
I like it. But Mark, not everybody knows kind of who you are. Give us a little background.
Well, Mark Moore, I am a teaching pastor in the greater metropolitan area of Phoenix, America. And prior to that, I was 22 years Bible geek professor at a small Bible college in Joplin, Missouri. I know you and I have talked theology quite a bit. The first time I met you, you started pulling out like Hebrew and Greek stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Let's go. I
can jive with that. Yeah. Nerds unite.
That was so fun because I remember talking through those verbs, those Holy Spirit verbs in Romans chapter 8.
Yeah, that was new to me. It was good.
I know. I remember what you said to me. You're like, wow, that's dense.
No, I didn't say you're dense. It's the
content was dense, right? That's fun. So why'd you shift from Ozarks, Joplin to Phoenix? Because that's kind of a big switch.
Yeah. Well, so there's two reasons. I'm motivated by influence. And maybe we could play with this idea a little bit, because I made this statement as someone objected to it. I'm going to give you a longer answer, but we got to get derailed here for a second. I think God needs worship. Not need, because people are offended like God doesn't need anything, he's God.
Right.
But not need for survival, but need for happiness. Throughout the scriptures, he calls on us to worship him. And it's not only good for him, it's good for us. And I think when he made us in his image, he put that in us as well. A need to be significant, a need to matter, a need for people to, not in a sense of putting us on a pedestal and worshiping us, but to realize we have value. Anyway, we can play with that idea of God's desire for worship embedded in us. But I have it. I know I have it. So I started just looking at the number of students that I had put out over the years and what I was able to invest in them. And then this is really embarrassing. I apologize.
It's all good.
And then what I could invest in the church at Christ Church of the Valley.
Yeah.
So it was an influence play for me. The second issue for me was I had been at the college for 22 years.
Yeah.
Half the staff were students and disciples that I had raised up.
Yeah.
They were going to be better than me, but they didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
So I thought I would leave before they figured it out.
That's fun. Totally fun. And I'm going to ask this question too, because I think this is really fun. We were talking just before that you went to Israel and you took, how many people did you take?
Well,
total.
I actually had 3 trips right in a row.
Oh.
So the first trip were 30 people, 12 large church pastors.
Yep.
Second trip, and this is the cool one, I took 12 guys.
Yep.
And we hiked it.
Oh, wow.
110 miles in 10 days.
Oosh.
There's nothing
Where'd you go? Where'd you go on the hiking?
Well, obviously you need transport from Tel Aviv up to Nazareth.
Yeah.
So, we start in Jaffa or Joppa, where Jonah took off from, where Peter took off from in missions. And then a transport takes us up through Caesarea Maritima to Nazareth. And they drop us off in Nazareth. We stay in this unbelievable, you'd like in a set of an Indiana Jones movie, like these covered colonnades, and it's like pretty rustic. And then we hike from there to Sepphoris, the city built in Jesus' day.
Yeah.
He probably worked on the streets. And then we hike from Sepphoris to Cana, Cana to Arbel, the highest mountain above the Lake of Galilee.
Yep.
And we can actually hike down the cliffs of Arbel, where the rebels hung out.
Yep.
And then we go to Magdala. Yeah. We were able to, so Magdala now has a hotel there.
Yep.
You can stay inside. So we're after dinner, I'm sitting in the lobby, and I'm looking, there's a door that goes out to the archaeological site. And I thought, there's no way that's open.
I know, right?
It's open.
That place is amazing.
So I was able to go out
and you see the little mikvahs and all that, just kind of traipse around it. That place is so cool.
So let me throw this out at you. Do you think that Mary Magdalene is the unnamed woman of Luke 7? Because she's introduced in chapter 8. Of course, there's no chapters in the original Bible. So could it be that Luke doesn't use her name in chapter 7, the woman that anointed Jesus' feet,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sinful
yeah,
woman
yeah. In Simon's house.
in Simon's house?
Yeah. Wow.
If
Right.
Mary Magdalene is the unnamed woman of chapter 7, and it'd be just like Luke to protect her identity,
Yeah.
then I think we found Simon's house.
Wow. Serious.
There's one house, so you would expect Simon
Yep.
to be in a wealthy home,
Sure.
and you'd expect him to live near the synagogue.
Yep.
There's one wealthy home near the synagogue, and it has one room with a mosaic tile floor and 4 mikvehs for ritual cleansing
Holy buckets.
in the house.
Oh
I think
my
it's Simon's
goodness.
house.
Oh my gosh. How cool is that?
It's
That's
ridiculous.
amazing.
Yeah. It gives you a little bit of chills.
Seriously.
Because that would be the room where the tile floor where Jesus was reclining and she wept over his feet.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah, so that
Man.
was the second trip. Third trip was your standard large bus trip from our church, and we
Yeah.
had 69 on that.
Yeah. So then did you hike from Magdalene and then make your way down to Jerusalem?
Well, so we don't, that's like 100 miles,
Yeah.
which we could do, but you're talking about another week
Yeah.
just to walk through a desert.
Yeah.
And we live in a desert, so
Sure.
we get another transport down to Masada,
Oh,
Dead
yeah.
Sea,
Yep.
Qumran,
Yes.
and En-Gedi.
Yeah.
So we stayed in En-Gedi, and
Oh
then
my gosh.
then we go to Jerusalem, and the bus leaves us, and we're on foot for 3 days in Jerusalem.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds like I'd be a kid in a candy store.
Oh, yeah, I am. And it's just so, what's significant about it is I think women are better at face-to-face conversations. Men often need hip-to-hip conversations. And we'll say as much in 4 hours of hiking as women do in 15 minutes over a cup of tea. And sometimes it just takes guys a longer time to let their soul leak out. And so, you got 8 hours of hiking a day.
Yeah.
And the conversations kind of revolve through the day, because sometimes you're in the front, sometimes you move back, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 2. It is the most effective discipleship thing that I do. And I think I understand now why Jesus walked with his guys.
Exactly. And didn't ride everywhere. And I mean, oh, that's totally cool. Love it. Man, I completely love that.
Tell me about your Israel experiences.
So we went a couple years ago, took my kids.
Wow.
And so all my kids are teens at that time, which was perfect. And we were there, I think, around 10 days. Which was great. So everything you just described, like I saw it in real time. And I started going there when I was like 5. Yeah. So I don't know how many times I've been. Love the place, but it's changed. I mean, drastically. So that's like early 70s when I first went.
Wow.
Yeah, right, I know. So huge.
Yeah, when you were 2.
Huge changes, exactly. I was baptized. My dad baptized me in the Jordan River. Right.
Wow.
Before it was this now commercialized thing, literally the bus pulled off the side of the road and the Jordan River, we scurried down the little bank. There's no stairs or anything. I mean, it was just, kind of makeshift. You just pop in.
Has it been your experience that Jesus somehow speaks to you there differently?
Yeah. The vibrancy of it. I mean, you walk and you think and you talk and you live. Oh, the Bethesda pool, right? Outside of the sheep gate, and like Bethesda, house of loving kindness, Bet Chesed, right? I mean, seriously, the whole thing is completely I have pictures on my phone. I'm like, oh, I wish because I get all totally lit up.
Yeah.
Then, oh, and the last time we went, I never did this before. We did the temple tunnel.
Oh, right.
And went down to the bedrock, basically, of Solomon's found. And I was like, these and the stones there?
Crazy.
Blow your mind how big. I'm like, how on earth?
Yeah, Herod was not great as a husband, but as a builder, unbelievable.
Yeah, he was great. But then when you go underneath that, and then you see the ones that don't have the little frame, not Herod frame, the ones below that, I'm like, oh my God.
So tell me, do you find when you go back, Jesus speaks to me every time I go over there? It's like this one-on-one encounter. Not audible, but pretty close to it.
Yeah.
But it's not in the same place. He just sneaks up on me.
Yep. And unexpected, right? And you're like, well, I didn't see that coming. We went and saw the boat by Magdalene.
Sure.
There's that boat they
Sure.
rehabilitated. There was a fishing boat and all that. And I remember sitting there thinking about that. And what does that look like in a boat with Jesus on, like at nighttime in the Sea of Galilee? I'm like, whoa. And then, I was like blown away. And I think for me, going when I was 5 and then multiple times. I went again when I was like 7, 8, 9, So I think the Bible was never just flat, like black and white pages for me. There's always like in the vibrancy of real life. I mean, you go back and the valley where David killed Goliath, and reading, and you'd sit there and read it. I remember I went one time to Ephesus and we sat in the amphitheater there, Acts chapter, I think is 17, great is Artemis, great is, I'm like reading it right in the moment. I'm like, oh my God. So just the whole, it completely lights it up. So
so for you guys watching online, what happens when people go to Israel is the Bible goes from black and white to living color. It becomes a pop-up book and a scratch and sniff book because there's the smells and the sounds and the tastes. Do you ever lead groups there?
So we did.
Because I think if you could get with her, holy cow.
It would be all kind of lit, huh? I haven't personally. I've been on the one we went on a couple years ago, it was our church group that went, our church that went. And so we took 30, 40 people, a bus, which was great. I don't know. I never thought of really leading one. That would be interesting. It's a new idea.
You'd be phenomenal at it.
I don't know. I'm not kind of the rustic. I like the idea of walking, and being kind of out and not necessarily all the cushy stuff. So that would be interesting. I have to think about that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Hit the notification bell right there. Here's a question for you to answer. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you travel? You're like, I would travel home. I understand. That's totally good too. But if you could go anywhere, and you wouldn't have to worry about, money or time, jet lag, all that stuff. If you go anywhere, where would you want to go? So thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And here is your joke. Hello. It takes guts to be an organ donor. It is so lame.
Oy vey.
All right, catch you later.